This is a shirt. We all have one. There's a lot that goes into making a shirt. The materials, the production process, the manufacturers, and that's all before it comes to you. Do you know the fabric of the clothes that you're wearing right now? Well, they could be made from many different materials, from natural fibres to synthetic fibres. Natural fibres are, of course, natural. Some examples include cotton, wool, silk, and cashmere. Synthetic fibres, however, are made from man-made materials such as polyester, acrylics, and nylon. In the 1950s, after World War II, there was an advance in the scientific understanding of plastics and polymers. Plastic materials are cheap and pliable, making the production of these materials favoured over alternative methods. Polyester is a synthetic fibre, commonly petroleum or fossil fuel based, or it could be renewable resource based. Recycling materials seems good, right? Well, yes, however not all from polyester is as good as it sounds. It is estimated that every time that you wash a 6 kilogram load of polyester fabric into the washing machine, that over 700,000 fibres could be released, making their way into the waters. The microplastics, as they float down the rivers and oceans, act as a sponge, collecting chemicals such as BPA and DDT. Fish and marine life may mistake these microplastics as plankton due to the attached chemicals. The fish eat the plastics, then the bigger fish eat those fish, and then those fish end up on our dinner plate. Microplastics have also been discovered in German beer and in honey. These plastics are exceedingly more likely to turn up into food and drinks that shouldn't be contaminated with plastics. These microplastics could make their way into our bloodstreams along with other hazardous chemicals. So why should we care? Over the last 14 years, the world's internet shopping has increased by over 125%. Fashion trends are continually changing, causing a constantly changing fashion industry. The change of fashion trends has led to a greater rate of the consumption of clothing, more rapid lifespans for fashion items, and therefore a larger amount of textile waste. The microplastics in our ocean are expected to increase over time. The amount of plastics that will be inside our bodies is therefore also likely to increase. As time goes on, it will affect the future generations more and more, including the future health of the planet. Ultimately, we choose what we wear. When we go shopping, we're able to look at the materials of the clothing that we're buying. We can make an ethical decision whether or not to buy the item. We are able to research what companies have ethical and transparent policies and decide what companies' clothes should be purchased from. So how can we help? There are already organisations who are fighting to limit the number of microplastics that are polluted into our sea, such as the Australian Marine Conservation Society, who are concerned with the number of hazardous wastes that are contaminating our waters. We can also be mindful of our washing loads and how often we wash our clothing, but there will always still be the problem of microplastic pollution if synthetic fibres such as polyesters are still being washed. Ultimately, we make the decision of what happens next. Everything somehow ties its way into demand and supply. If there is a change in the consumer trends and tastes, there will be a shift in the demand in the market. In this case, if we decided to stop buying synthetic clothing, there would be a shift of the demand curve to the left, decreasing the number of synthetic clothes that consumers would purchase. The market will be in disequilibrium, where the allocations of goods are not at their most efficient. To ensure that equilibrium is met, the supply curve will also have a shift in a decreasing fashion. If this is done in real life, companies should choose to substitute their synthetic materials to natural materials to appeal to a greater market. So, next time you buy a shirt, what are you going to do?